quoting him now. Brush up your Shakespeare, and the women you will wow. Just to claim a few lines from Othello, and I'll think you're a heck of a fella. If you're blonde...
Patricia Barry was born in 1931, the daughter of Dr. Herbert Barry and Lucy Manning Brown Barry. She was given the nickname Tissy by her mother, who disliked the conventional nickname Pat for Patricia. The family lived for a time in Cambridge and later in Brookline. Patricia's father, Dr. Herbert Barry, and mother, Lucy Brown Barry, had 4 children. Herbert, now a professor emeritus of psychology at the University of Pittsburgh, Patricia, Lucy, who died in 1996, and Robert, who was autistic and has been in custodial care since he was 12. Lucy was married to Robert S. Robe, Jr., and they have a daughter, Parrish. Patricia graduated from Windsor School in Boston, was presented as a debutante at the Boston Cotillion, and was admitted to Barnard, a women's college affiliated with Columbia University, in the class of 1954. Patricia was a fine arts major and very active in undergraduate affairs. She became president of her class in her senior year and was a member of the Barnard Octet, a singing group whose theme song was the Lullaby of Broadway.
Come on along and listen to the Lullaby of Broadway.
Barnard College was not totally preoccupied with academics, particularly in the spring of 1952, as the attached newspaper article on panty raids discloses. In 1959, Tissy wrote the book for the annual Vincent Club stage production, a major Boston charity event for the Vincent Memorial Hospital. The play was called Heavens Above. Her book included the famous High Tiller line, where Boston Blue Bloods danced as the Radio City Music Hall Rockettes. We were married in 1955 at a lovely garden wedding at the Barry's house in Brookline, and chartered a small yawl for a voyage to Nantucket for our honeymoon. We had a disquieting moment on the voyage. As a navigating officer in the Navy, I had learned to read charts. Somehow, I seem to have forgotten this process, because when looking over the side, about 10 miles off Nantucket, we saw the yellow sand coming up under us. We were more than a bit off course. Patricia attended the Harvard Graduate School of Fine Arts for 1 year and worked at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston until the birth of our first child. After our marriage, we began living in a lovely first-floor garden apartment on Mount Vernon Street in the Beacon Hill section of Boston, and I traveled to work in Cambridge at the Arthur D. Little Company. Later, when I joined several classmates in an entrepreneurial venture called VenCap, we made a covenant with our shareholders to work a year without pay. It was necessary for Patricia and me to move back into the Barry's house at 5 Perrin Road, Brookline. The family graciously let us set up an apartment on the 3rd floor. Patricia was not too happy about returning to live in the family house. However, after those initial years, we rented what had been the servants' wing of a mansion on Goddard Avenue located in the socially elite Brookline section that includes the Country Club, the first to be established in the United States and hence called only the Country Club. Our daughter Lucy was born at the Boston Lying-In Hospital, where it was so crowded that Patricia's bed was in the corridor for 3 days. In 1959, we moved to Simsbury, Connecticut, so that I could take advantage of a new job, president of Anderson Laboratories. After a brief rental in Simsbury, Tissy found an authentic colonial house in Farmington, now listed as part of the historic district. Although the house was close to Main Street, it was situated on a spacious property with a small cottage in the back. We bought this house in 1961, and Patricia was to live there for 25 years. Tissy and I have 4 children, Lucy, Cynthia, Godfrey, and John. And I will tell you about these wonderful children as we go through this family history. Patricia ran the family house in Farmington for many years, and also a summer house that we owned on Marblehead Neck with a beautiful view of Marblehead Harbor. The house was located where the ferry used to land, traversing between the town of Marblehead and the Neck before the causeway was completed. We called that house Ferry Landing. Our routine was to winter in Farmington, and then Patricia would summer in Marblehead. Summers for the family were full of camps, tennis lessons, and the Pleon Yacht Club program. I would drive up on the weekends for cookouts and yacht racing in the Rhodes 19 fleet. In Farmington, Patricia remodeled our 1785 farmhouse on the main street in Farmington, adding a large brick terrace and an addition which consisted of a 2-car garage, 2 bedrooms, and a bathroom and a laundry room. The house at 141 Main Street remains there today, a village landmark protected in the Farmington Historical District. Even in those hard-working years, we found time to visit the Magic Kingdom with the children. We also found time to charter a 41-foot sailboat for one summer. That boat, a Loki yawl, similar to a Concordia, happened to be owned by a famous statesman, Chester Bowles. Frank Farrell, a columnist for the World Telegram, a New York City afternoon daily, wrote a funny article about us and our sailing on Chester Bowles' boat. Unfortunately, Tissy and I were growing apart, and we were divorced in 1975. In 1986, Patricia moved to Newburyport, Mass., where she now lives in an early neoclassical house with extensive gardens. She loves gardening, travel, and painting. Oils were her favorite medium, but she also worked in watercolors and pastel. She enjoyed skiing and tennis before arthritis curtailed strenuous athletic pursuits. Patricia is an intense woman with a great sense of humor and an intellectual mind. Patricia's father and mother led amazingly full lives, and in the next chapter, my daughter Lucy will tell you about the early relatives of the Brown and Barry families. And in chapter 10, Patricia will talk about how her mother, called Grand-mère throughout the family, became an inspiration to us all.
Got no mansion, got no yacht, still I'm happy with what I got. I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. I got the sun